Okay, so we are now being recorded. I'm so excited to be here today with everybody. And we're just going to jump in. And many of us, we're so afraid of having conflict in our lives. We don't like to have other people be angry with us. So we avoid saying no when we're afraid that it's going to put us in conflict with somebody else, whether that be an intimate partner, a colleague or a friend, a boss, possibly an employee. And then many of us also try to avoid battles with our children because if we feel that we might say no to them, they'll stop loving us. And as children, we are taught to not go against authority. We're supposed to do what our parents, our teachers, and others in power tell us what to do. We obey because we've got possibly fears of being punished. But it's also part of our desire to please and to be loved by those people who are very, very important to us. And then we start carrying this worry with us into adulthood. And then it's possible, I'm not sure if anyone can relate to this, but things can start running through our head, like thoughts like, they won't like me, they're going to leave me, they're going to be mad or upset with me. I don't know how many of you can relate to that voice that sometimes goes through your head. So you may have heard this before, but I have nicknamed that voice the itty bitty shitty committee. And if I can share with you ways that would be valuable for you to let all that worry go, would that be valuable for you? You can also type in the chat if you feel compelled to as well. So I like everyone also to write down fear. I like to bring this up a lot because fear is basically false evidence appearing real. Most of the time, our brains start hijacking us with fear, and we already make up these stories that could possibly happen in our future that hasn't happened yet. But many times we find that this picture that we're painting, a possibility, could be the things that could possibly go wrong. So that is something that stops a lot of us in our tracks. So I like to say that fear is just face everything and rise, because we can just reinvent everything and create everything that we want for our future. So if you ever felt so much determination that you could be just a yes man to everything that came your way. So if you knew me 7 years ago, you would have watched me and thought I had it all together. I had tons of determination. I was doing so many things that I loved at once. I was a salon owner, a master colorist, taking clients still. I was a mentor, coach, and a leader in a training program, a coach training program that I graduated from, one in San Diego and then one in Chicago. And then I also was an independent contractor for a coaching and consulting company, traveling around the country every month, doing trainings and having private coaching clients. Some would say I had at least 5 to 10 different jobs, or I was wearing 5 to 10 different hats. And at the time, I was love everything I was doing at once. But then I found myself starting to deplete myself. I would find myself working 16 days in a row, working 12-hour days without a break. And this happened quite often. My anxiety started going through the roof. As much as I loved every single thing I was doing, I was completely depleting myself. And then I woke up and I decided, okay, you cannot be a yes man to every single opportunity that comes your way. So I started taking some things off of my plate and started taking care of myself more. I signed up for the Chicago Marathon. And then halfway through training for the marathon, my doctor called me back and said, we want to share with you, you're going to be okay. However, we have some news to share with you. And if you can read on my bio on that page, you can probably guess what the doctor had shared with me I had. So I was pretty shocked. I was thinking, how in the world, I feel healthy, I feel great, but how in the world could I possibly be diagnosed with this? And at the time, it felt pretty devastating. And then I processed the news. I went to a festival that evening with one of my girlfriends called Lollapalooza, and I absolutely love music. And I was surrounded by all these rock stars. And I have this picture of me that I have from that event. And when I look at that picture of that woman, she just radiates determination. So this used to be me. And it's one of the reasons why I created this training. One of my nicknames used to be Wonder Woman Stunt Double. And I used to be a yes man to everything and pretended to be a superhero and would get the crap just kicked out of me. So this is for you if you've been feeling stuck, burnt out, and or miserable and having that negative self-talk running your show, being a yes man to everything that comes your way. I just had a call with a woman not that long ago, and she shared with me that she had been starting to feel so much resentment for the business that she created because she was taking on way too much and was just going into overwhelm. I'm not sure how many of you can relate to that. So this is really for you if you're ready to live a life by design and finally take control of your life and create more power and joy in your life. So what we're going to go over today is we're going to go over what has us being so afraid to say the word no, and it's not necessarily our fault. How to create more abundance in your life. How to supercharge your life and go exactly what you want, and how saying no can have you lead to saying yes to yourself. And specifically, other things that I'm going to go over today is the biggest reasons why we let that itty bitty shitty committee run the show and say yes when we would like to say and rather say no. Why this is so stifling to our growth and our ability to get what we really want in life. And then I'm also going to share with you tips on how you can get started to shift your mindset and go after what you truly want in life and start to empower the word no. So today I'm going to teach you as much as possible in the limited amount of time we have together, but I promise you, I'm going to show you how you can take it further. So hold your questions because I'm going to be sticking around to the end so I can give you as much as possible today. All right, so I'm going to start getting into this. So how many of you heard of the phrase like Pollyanna pleaser? That used to be another one of my nicknames. So Pollyanna pleaser principle is a tendency for people to remember more pleasant items and things rather than remembering the unpleasant ones. And research has indicated that at an unconscious level, the mind has a tendency to focus on the optimistic, while the conscious mind tends to focus on more of the negative things. So what's happening is our conscious and unconscious mind is out of rapport. And I can speak for myself, and I want you to check in to see if you can relate to this. So I would see everything good in everything. I would see good in people and situations. On the outside to everyone, I was always having so much fun. I was smiling and happy. But then in the inside, I was pretty miserable. I had a really hard time saying no to anyone and everything, even employees that I used to have that would make requests of me. I would, my biggest fear would be that at the time that if I said no to somebody, that people would leave me, they would be mad at me, they would think bad of me, and I would be letting somebody down. So guilt would completely overcome me. And by the way, guilt is basically just like anger towards inward. So you've heard me talk about that itty bitty shitty committee a little bit, and I want to get into what it really is and talk about why it's so stifling to our growth, and that what it has us be taking leading roles as becoming either, in my case, Wonder Woman stunt double or Pollyanna pleaser. And the truth is, the itty bitty shitty committee has been with us since we were children. However, It wasn't always there, and we've developed it over time. All right. So once upon a time, we were all little babies, just like these cute babies that you see. So when you think about babies, like even if you just look at these babies or think of a baby in your life, like what do you typically think about when you see babies, and what do you visualize, and what comes to mind? You know, I've asked this question to hundreds of people. And usually the answers that I get are people see joy, trust, curiosity, love, possibility. Like, look at all these cute little babies here, just being happy and looking curious and wanting to take on the world. Like, babies live in their essence, which is also their highest and best selves. And then that baby starts to grow up. And now this baby is a toddler. And then when you think about toddlers, what do toddlers normally start to hear? They start to hear like, no, don't do that. Get out of there. So we really start hearing the word no at a really, really young age. And then that toddler turns into a young child. And then what do young children normally start to hear? They start to hear more no's. They start to get judged by their grades. They hear inappropriate comments from teachers. They hear, stop that, don't do that. They start getting into mischief and trouble. No, 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 no. And then, so the Mindful Awareness Research Center has said that you have two types of brain states that children normally might utilize. It's either the yes brain state or the no brain state. And the yes kids usually go through life with a more positive outlook, where no children often have times of shutting down emotionally. So in other words, the yes brain state will approach life with more positive features, while the no brain states, the children that heard no more often, will shut down more quickly and faster, and they're really going to be more hesitant to experience new things versus like the yes person. So then young children continue to grow up, and now they're with their peers. And then with peers, they're starting to cliques start to get formed. Bullying can happen. I know I had my fair share of bullying. I don't know if any of you can relate to this, like this picture, walking into a room or a party, especially being in your teenage years, and you're confronted with judgments and opinions of other people. I mean, I can remember a time when I was a freshman in high school. I had zero idea why, but this girl was walking behind me with her friends, and she was throwing pennies at me from behind my back, like zero idea. But let's just, children sometimes can be kind of mean and bullying to each other. And that has an impact on us and how we're growing up. And then we start dating, and then our hearts get broken, and, and we have that process that we go through. And then we're watching movies, we're watching TV shows, and then that has a big influence on us. And we're reading magazines, and like I can like you see like all that social stuff in on magazines and stuff, and it's like all the gossip that we have and that we're faced with within the world. And then all these experiences for growing from a baby to an adult have us create what I call, and others have called, like our defense mechanisms. So again, it's like called that itty bitty shitty committee. And what they're designed to do is they are designed to protect us and keep us in our comfort zone and playing a small game. And it almost becomes like an automatic way of being. Even people with the most awesome, amazing perfect upbringing in the world they experience breakdowns and not great things happen. So then again, that has us create what's called our survival mechanism. So if you knew me 15 years ago and a breakdown happened, I would either cry because I wanted you to feel bad for me, AKA not leave me or ignore me, or I would possibly rip your head off, or I would become very defensive and go radio silent and avoid you like the plague. So if any of you can relate to any of those behaviors, just give me a shout out in the chat and let me know I'm not alone in this world. So here's the thing. All learning behaviors and change is really at an unconscious level. Truthfully, they are so embedded in our unconscious mind that we're not even aware of it. How many of you have ever found yourself going from one job to another, one relationship to another, maybe one company to another, or even a different career, and you're still experiencing the same type of patterns and behaviors? You've changed the scenery and the people. However, you're still experiencing the same results and having like pretty similar experiences. The problem is that our negative behaviors and thoughts are so embedded in our unconscious mind, we are not even aware of it. Like seriously, guys, like they're so embedded in our unconscious mind, we're not even aware of it. I've been practicing transformational coaching for over 14 years. And when I tell you, I used to have this running joke that I would want to get a lobotomy because my negative emotions and people pleasing, AKA Pollyanna pleaser, would continuously run my show. I couldn't quiet my mind down. It used to feel like it was on a hamster wheel. It would just keep going and going and overanalyzing and overthinking. And until I started practicing and experiencing the work of NLP, timeline therapy, my mind finally started to let go of all that crap and become free. So when you work with me more closely, you'll experience the same thing. So I actually had a client that I was coaching last month, and she had gotten a text from somebody that she grew up with, and this person made a request of her to do, she's in the hair industry, and asked if she could do like her children's hair, like on her day off. And the woman was conflicted. She was like, I feel bad like telling this woman no. So I had to coach her to get out of her automatic way of being to like automatically say yes to this person, because, the impact of her saying yes to this person would have like derailed her whole Saturday, which she had all these things going. So I coached her on what to say to this woman, how to gracefully, say, I am not available that day. However, I have this other option for you. Would you like to take that on? So there's definitely something about, for her to get out of her own way and get out of her comfort zone to say no to this person so she can serve herself. So the cool part about all of this is that, people can change their behaviors. That is great news for all of us. So the thing that I like to point out to people is that, you are not your behavior. You are you. We've just created these behaviors and patterns. Again, like I shared with you earlier, like they're so embedded in our unconscious mind. Sometimes we're not even aware of it. And my thing is like, have you ever heard that quote? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, in my opinion, that is just another limiting belief. Like, one of my clients, it was this morning, she got on the phone with me and her first words were out of her mouth were, "You are a miracle worker." And I was like, what do you mean I'm a miracle worker? And in our like last session, she was like not happy with the behavior that she had, because she always had all these Post-it notes all over her office, and they would just trigger her and put her into upset and overwhelm. And I worked with her and did coaching on her and shifted her behavior. And she now has more peace of mind and more clarity around it. So again, we're not our behaviors. We're just people like doing the best with the resources we have. And we have the power to shift and control our practices and behaviors. So I think that's cool. And reinvention can happen at any age. And age is just a number. So who's down for reinvention here? Because I'm all about reinventing. All right. And then I like to just even go back down to like the word no. Like it's such a little word, but it is so tough for some of us to choke out in certain moments. You know, we have this instinct need to connect for connection with other people. It's like, it's part of like our, you know, part of our essential to our survival. And we worry that saying no will break some of these bonds with some people that are important in our life. And, you know, saying no can stir up intense negative emotions into certain people. And then we start trying to avoid these intense negative feelings. So then we start going against our own ethics, and then we start becoming a yes man to everybody, you know. But again, it's just a simple word. It's no, it's just no. And it can be extremely powerful. Like I shared with you, like I coached my client on how to powerfully say no to the person's request, and then just give her another option. So when I work with you more closely, you know, and people go through my coaching certification program, you know, I start clearing out negative emotions. And we always start with, I always start with anger, because anger is one of the lead emotions that people can carry around with us like a ball and chain. I just completed a breakthrough session with somebody this week, and I said, what was the biggest value of going through the breakthrough session? And she shared with me, she goes, letting go of anger I have been carrying around against my parents. She's like, I feel so free and clear-headed, and I feel like I can take on the world now. So clearing out that anger, like I know even for myself, when I used to, you know, if I told you a story about something that happened in my past, it would be like my anger would be refueled all over again. I'd be really reliving it and just adding fuel to the fire. And now I can, you know, share a story that I was angry about, and it was just a story. So then after we clear out anger, we start clearing out the stepsisters called sadness, fear, hurt, then guilt. So fear and guilt are probably two of the most useless emotions that we can carry around with us, because they impact our health in such a negative way. They cause unnecessary stress that can impact our heart, weaken our immune system, and then cause diseases. The thing I do want to share with you is after we clear emotions out, no one becomes a zombie here. We do not become void of feelings. If anything, positive emotions even are more heightened and are more awesome, but you still can experience being, you know, you might have to be angry at some point. But what I can share with you is that when I get angry around something, it usually lasts now for 5 minutes versus like weeks or months, or I felt like sometimes an eternity. And, you know, now that like, if I would even like rate my anxiety level on a 1 to 100, I used to rate it at 150. And now I can rate it at like a 5%. So I get to share stories, and they were just stories, and that feels pretty cool. So that makes me really excited. So then I'm going to just like I share with essence, like babies live at their highest and best self, which is also called their essence, and living in your essence. And we're all connected to that inner child inside of us. And, you know, we can always look at, there's two places to come from. We can come from fear, which again, in the beginning, like I shared with you, it's that false evidence appearing real, or we get to come from love, which is our highest and best selves, and who we are as babies is all still inside of us, and we can get connected to it over and over again and choose and let go of those negative emotions and clear out any limiting beliefs that you have. And I also want to talk about the importance of getting outside of your comfort zone. So I always like to ask this question to everybody, like, what is the definition of insanity? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It is said that 90% of the population is choosing to live inside of their comfort zone. 90% of the population is choosing to live inside of their comfort zone, which is kind of being insane. And the World Happiness Report stated that in 2019, unhappiness was on the rise. And then we entered 2020 and we were struck with a pandemic, shooting unhappiness even higher. So what this is telling me is that there's tons of room for growth in the happiness department all around the world. And the more you get to know me, the more you will know and see that I push myself and my clients out to seek opportunities for growth and abundance. And the biggest thing I believe is that every person that we touch is a ripple effect onto somebody else. So the happier we are, the more we spread happiness, and the world becomes a better place. So saying yes to yourself leads to happiness, which spreads onto others. All right. So my invitation to everybody is, let's stop being insane. Let's start getting sane. All right. Okay. So I love to like use this this analogy or metaphor as an example of like the roller coaster, right? So here's two people. They're on this roller coaster, right? They're on the same ride, same exact time, pretty much same experience. And then, here's the guy, the guy with the purple hair. So he's choosing to be fearful and to be scared. And like, he looks pretty terrified. Would you guys agree? Right? So then there's the woman, the blonde, and she is just in for the time of her life. She's enjoying the ride. She's super excited. So again, you get to choose. When you go through an experience, are you going to choose excitement or are you going to choose fear? And actually, if you ever noticed, the feeling in your chest of fear and excitement are pretty much the same. So if unless a lion is chasing you, of course, you want to be in fear mode and be in action and be around that. But like in day-to-day life, if you got to make that sales call or, call a friend or have a serious conversation with somebody or say no, it's like you get to choose. Again, are you going to be coming from fear or are you going to be coming from excitement? Or actually, I like to say love. So when we get to choose that, we get to have that itty bitty shitty committee take a back seat and stop taking over our show. And then, choosing outside of fear, getting outside of my comfort zone, and then also filling out my cup. I continue to choose to empower myself, empower my clients. And I mean, I had to say no to myself. So that's one thing. Like I had to say no to myself to a project that I was like going to start taking on. And then I signed up for the marathon a couple years ago, Chicago Marathon, and I committed to a certification program for this year, and it kind of took over my training for my marathon. And then as the marathon started coming up closer, I was like, I started facing myself, run the marathon or not run the marathon. Like, who am I disappointing? And then I decided to say no to running the marathon this year. So because I was going to put my health as a priority versus being like looking good, because I said that I would run the marathon. Like, it's okay. Like I could table it for next year. So life is like a roller coaster. And I like to say, let's enjoy the ride. That used to be one of my dream jobs as a kid, going to Great America. And I loved hearing, enjoy the ride. So if you want to have more peace, love your life through power and joy and being your highest and best self, so I'm going to start sharing some tips with you that I have for you to get started to rev up your power and joy. Okay. So timeline therapy is for when people work more closely with me, and I don't have time for that. So I'm going to share with you some other steps for you so you can start empowering and shifting your mindset starting like today. So my first tip is really start focusing on what you want. I know this sounds like a very simple concept, but the reason I like to bring this up is because when I ask people, or if you even think about it, if you've ever had somebody ask you what you want, or you've even asked yourself what you want, my experience is that most people start going towards sharing everything that they don't want in life, or things that are not working. Well, I don't want this, or I don't want that, or I don't blah, 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 or I don't like this, or I don't like that. Well, this is the thing. When we start focusing and we continuously think about what we don't want, there's this weird way of that starts being attracted to us. So let me give you some examples. So if I say, so the unconscious mind has a challenge accepting a negative or a do not. So if I say to you, don't think about a blue tree. Don't think about a purple pig. Most likely you might have thought about a blue tree or a purple pig. And it's even like if you ever found yourself wearing white pants and or a white shirt and you were doing everything in your power to avoid spilling or not spill something on your white pants or your white shirt. And then before you know it, your white pants or your white shirt are filthy dirty by the end of the day. Like I'll give it like another example. Like I used to, for me, for money, I had to have a money breakthrough because I used to focus on, like, I would say things like, I just want to get out of debt. And I would find myself making a lot of money one month. And then where would I find myself? I would be back in debt or still stuck in debt. So I had to shift my mindset to start going towards what I wanted around money. Like I want financial abundance. I want to make X amount of dollars. I want this much money in the bank. And then that really started shifting my money story for me. So I want everyone to really start getting clear on what you want, and you really start moving and focusing towards that. Another thing I like to say is notice when you are starting to be triggered. And, like it's even the power of the pause, like stopping, noticing, and then thinking and reflecting about what you want to say or how you want to react, and really just even slowing down and then making your choice about what you want to say or how you want to react. So that is a really great practice. Just even starting to create like a higher awareness about, your thoughts and your reactions and how you're reacting to it. Another thing that I like to have on here too, that's that I don't have on this as a tip is, even when you're in a conversation with somebody else, it's starting to like build rapport with that person. Building rapport with somebody is another way to create more power and joy for yourself. Listening to what the other person says. I love asking for permission to give somebody else feedback or sharing what I have to say to them. So building rapport with somebody else, for me, leads to a lot more power and joy. Taking long, deep breaths in and out. Again, it's the power of the pause. If you like, take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out, that will relax you a lot more. Being at cause for your life. This is a concept that I go a deeper dive into training in my certification program, but being at cause, like it's the difference between being responsible for everything that happens in your life versus being at the effect, or another word you can use is like being a victim of it. Like really being at cause for every single thing that happens in your life. Taking ownership and responsibility, and then just getting an action around it. And like, it's a lot of it too, is like unhooking yourself from the emotions and the feelings. Because there's a time when we have tendencies to let our emotions or our feelings drive our actions. So really being at cause for your life, and then filling up your cup. I can't express that enough. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote that ebook on 10 ways to live your highest and best self, is, going back to, taking care of yourself. I mean, like I said before, like, I was working like 16 days in a row without a day off and depleting myself. And then I just really, the more we fill up our cups and say yes to ourselves, our cups will overflow into other people's lives. So then you just keep practicing over and over and over again. And I just like love sharing some tips on how to say no. Like just say it. Don't beat around the bush. Just be assertive and courteous. Like I shared with my client before, like, saying no to her friend's request, but then giving her another option. Understanding other people's tactics. I mean, everyone has their own context and their own views of the world. We're not all the same. So sometimes even just going in somebody else's world and understanding what they have to say, but then still honoring yourself and honoring your respect. Setting healthy boundaries, can't express the importance of that, whether it's healthy boundaries with friends, family, work, putting back the question on the other person. You can do that. That's like powerful questioning and being curious with the other person, being firm. And here's the thing, like I say be selfish, selfish in a responsible way. But again, it's just going back to so many times we put ourselves last, and it's actually more powerful to put ourselves first. So I say it's totally cool to be a little bit selfish in this world. And no is a complete sentence. One of my mentors and coaches, Kathy Fleming, she has said that for years in trainings. No can just be a complete sentence. All right. So I love to share this slide because there's nothing on it. And what this represents to me is that in front of you, we're in the present moment right now. And in front of you is a blank canvas. And you can get to paint your future any way you want to. So life is a blank canvas, and you are the artist, and you are the director of your own movie, and you get to paint and create whatever you want. So that is one of my last tips. So I have a little bit more to share with you. So just stay with me a little bit longer, and you can join me at Coach Brigette Sobis on Facebook and Instagram. And there you'll find more tips where you'll get connected to your essence, your highest and best self, tell the itty bitty shitty committee to have a back seat. And we covered a lot today. And I know that it's not easy for us to make changes. So I decided to offer something pretty cool to this group. So it's an opportunity to have a private one-on-one power and joy breakthrough session with me at no cost. And as if you can imagine, offering one-on-one sessions takes a lot of time. So I do have openings for everyone that joined me today on this call. So I'm going to put in the chat. A link so that you can sign up for me for these power and joy sessions. And they're valued at $497, but it's my gift for you for being on this training today. And you can either go on my Calendly link, or you can email me and just say that you were on my webinar today. And if you're listening to this recording, no worries. You can also sign up for a strategy session with me. And, it does upset me when people don't take this on, because people tell me all the time that they want to make changes. And it upsets me when they want to make changes and then they want to do nothing about it. So again, it's my gift to you for being on this call today. And what the outcome will be is that, we're going to discuss what negative emotions and limiting beliefs have been getting in your way, and what's been stopping you, and what you want out of life, and steps that you can take to truly get out of there. So there is one catch though, for people I want you to qualify for this session. So if you qualify for this session, this is one of the things I want you to think about. Like, you are really ready to have a life by design versus default. You're ready to tell that itty bitty shitty committee to take a back seat once and for all. And you're ready to let go of those ball and chain negative emotions that have been running your show. And you are ready to have peace of mind and mental freedom. And I promise you this, even if we never talk again after this session, at least you're going to know what limiting beliefs and emotions have been stopping you and getting in your way. And you get really clear on what you want in life and what you can start doing about it. And, please take action now. Remember that definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So I'm going to invite you to get sane and sign up for one of these strategy sessions with me. And I know this might be a concern with you, but sometimes people worry that I'm going to try to sell them something. So that's just not my style. Of course, I have programs, and if you want to know what it looks like to work with me, we can talk about that. But my main objective here is for you to walk away with getting clear on your what negative emotions and limiting beliefs have been stopping you, and taking over your show, and discover what you truly want in life and what you want to do about it. So now that I can shared with you more immediate ways that you can get support, I'm just going to share with you a little bit about some of my systems. So I have a branded system called the Power and Joy Breakthrough Session. And I also have a coaching academy, and I also certify people to become coaches. And I have my first certification training October 21st. I spent the whole summer working on this certification because I absolutely love this work so much, and it's done so much for me. And I've been a coach for over a decade. So I'm just honored to now certify people to become coaches. So my breakthrough sessions are a personalized inner game mentoring program where it infuses hypnotherapy, timeline therapy, which produce long-lasting, profound results with the clients I work with. I've supported people to increase their revenue by 30 to 50%, even in a pandemic, creating more personal freedom in their life, and creating a business in their life they love by design versus default. So all of my programs are customized. I do a strategy session, so it's one-on-one. And then I also have my certification program through my coaching academy. So once you submit your form and you qualify, I can't wait to meet with you one-on-one. So again, it's my gift to you today, and it's a $497 value. And it's one thing to think about change, and it's another thing to take actionable steps towards it. And I believe it's no accident that we were here together. And if you believe that too, I look forward to our next steps together. And then I just want to wrap up with that story I was telling in the beginning. So I often look at that picture of me, and what I see from that picture from that festival was a woman that was determined to be a cancer warrior. So I decided to put my health first, started filling up my cup, learned to say no to every opportunity that came my way. And the lessons I've learned were to slow down, put healthy boundaries in place, say no more often, schedule time to take care of myself. I'm so happy right now that I have such a balanced life, and I'm 6 years cancer-free and with more determination than ever. And I've really just learned to become more real with myself, go after what I want in life. And I absolutely love what I do. So it was an honor to be here with you guys today. So I'm going to open this up and see if I'm going to stop sharing my screen and see if anybody has any questions, comments. You can unmute yourself. Say hello to me. Hi, Esty.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I just wanted to pop in here and say, first of all, you look lovely. And also to say thank you for the opportunity, because I actually worked with you and I had my own personal breakthrough. So I really just came on to say thank you and to tell everybody here that I am a hardcore native New Yorker and nothing gets in my way. However, I'm human and shit happens. Am I allowed to curse on this? Things happen. And so for me, I get stressed out just like the next guy, and I get overwhelmed just like everybody else. And working with Brigette, she has helped me with anger issues, with sadness issues, but I had a huge breakthrough even today when, I was telling her about one of the techniques that she taught me, which is the swish method. And I'm not going to tell you anymore because I don't want to ruin it, but it really helped calm me down when I have so much work to do and balancing so many different things and trying to figure out what to focus on next and what to do in my life and in my business, personal and professional. So thank you for that. And I look forward to working with you in the future and hoping to become a coach when I have the time. But so I just want to say thank you. And from the bottom of my heart, because as a native New Yorker, I'm also a truth teller. And if I didn't, I'm not a bullshit artist. So there I am cursing again. But if I was going to, I wouldn't just know you. I would just not say anything. But so I had to just come on and tell you that. So thank you. And I hope that was helpful.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's awesome.
My pleasure.
I'm honored to do the work. So thank you. And I really do think I'm a catalyst too for a lot of the things. My clients say yes and they do the work. Anybody else do you guys want to pop on, share your screen so we can see your beautiful faces, or you want to share anything? Put something in the chat. You're on mute if you do want to say
I think people
something.
get shy and they like to listen in, like to be the voyeurs. What do they say? 80% of Instagram people are just watching, but they're not posting or commenting or engaging.
Oh, I know lots of voyeurs on social media that don't post or comment or say anything. They just like to look at everything.
It's revealing. It's too, they feel exposed, and so I don't know, just it takes time. It takes time.
No. Well, ladies, I so appreciate you being here. It's an honor, and thanks for spending this evening with me. And I look forward to meeting you guys in the future. Esty, thanks for coming on. I appreciate that. So, all right. Well, everybody having a rockin' night, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the future.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.